Let me ask you something most men are afraid to admit. Have you ever felt her slowly pulling away? Replying a little colder. Texting a little less. Looking at you with less intensity than before? And in that moment, your instinct was to try harder. More messages. More reassurance. More effort. But what if I told you, that's exactly where you lost her? What if the more you chase, the less she feels? What if the moment you start proving your worth, is the moment your value drops? This is not about playing games. This is not about pretending to be someone else. This is about understanding one brutal truth. A woman remembers the man who stands still when others panic. In this video, I will show you how to become that man. The one she misses. The one she respects. The one she cannot easily replace. Welcome to the Stoic Love Wisdom channel. This is where we share lessons about love, real-life experiences and tips for building strong relationships. In today's video, I will share with you how to make her miss you forever, and become a valuable man. These may be things you have never thought of. If you are looking for a deeper understanding of love and how to develop relationships, don't miss this video. Before watching the video, find a quiet space and put on your headphones to feel every word I am about to share. Relax and enjoy this journey with me. Are you ready to start this journey? Let's begin. Part 1. The power of absence, why she only misses the man who doesn't chase. Let me tell you something most men learn too late. A woman does not miss the man who is always available. She does not miss the man who texts first, calls first, apologizes first, explains himself endlessly, and rearranges his life just to keep her comfortable. She misses the man who has gravity. And gravity is built from stillness. I wasn't always this man. In my younger years, I confused intensity with value. I believed that if I showed her how much I cared, if I gave more, called more, tried harder, she would feel secure enough to stay. Instead, she grew distant. That was the first time life taught me a Stoic lesson in love. What is constantly given without restraint loses weight. 1. A Stoic principle most men ignore. The Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius, understood something powerful. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Most men attempt to control how a woman feels about them. They try to manage her emotions. They try to earn her desire. They try to prevent her from losing interest. But desire does not respond to control. Desire responds to contrast. And contrast requires absence. If you are always present, there is no space for longing. If you are always responding, there is no room for anticipation. If you are always explaining yourself, there is no mystery left. A woman begins to miss you when she feels your presence is not guaranteed. Not because you are playing games, but because you are building a life that does not orbit around her. 2. Why chasing destroys value. Let me speak plainly. When you chase, you communicate one silent message. My life is less important than keeping you. You may not say it out loud, but your actions scream it. You reply instantly. You cancel plans. You over-explain. You seek reassurance. And over time, something subtle happens. She stops seeing you as a man she might lose, and starts seeing you as a man who won't leave. There is no tension there. No edge. No uncertainty. And uncertainty is oxygen to attraction. Stoic love does not mean coldness. It means composure. You do not panic when she pulls away. You do not flood her phone when she becomes quiet. You do not beg for clarity when emotions shift. You observe. You remain grounded. And paradoxically, that is when she begins to feel your absence. 3. The psychology of missing someone. Missing someone is not about distance. It's about emotional impact. A woman misses a man when he makes her feel something rare. He does not overstay his presence. He leaves interactions slightly unfinished. He is emotionally steady in a world full of chaos. If you always stay until the energy dies, she won't miss you. But if you leave when things feel good, calmly, confidently, without drama, you create emotional echo. And echoes are powerful. She will replay your words. She will remember your tone. She will wonder what you are doing. That wondering is the beginning of longing. And longing is the birthplace of value. 4. Become the man who is busy building. One of the greatest mistakes I see men make is this. They make a woman the center of their growth. They start going to the gym because of her. They start working harder because of her. They start reading because of her. And when she leaves, everything collapses. That is fragile masculinity. A Stoic man builds for himself. He trains because discipline sharpens his mind. He earns because independence gives him leverage. He reads because wisdom protects him from emotional foolishness. And here is the paradox. When you are deeply invested in your own mission, she begins to feel your partial absence, even when you are physically present. Your attention is focused. Your time is structured. Your energy is intentional. You are not waiting. You are moving. And nothing is more attractive than a man in motion. 5. Silence is not weakness. Young men fear silence. They think silence equals losing her. But silence, when rooted in confidence, creates depth. If she takes hours to respond, you do not react. If she seems distant, you do not demand explanation. If she tests your patience, you remain centered. Why? Because your peace is not negotiable. When a woman senses that your emotional stability does not depend on her validation, something shifts. She begins to feel that she must step toward you. Not because you forced her. But because your emotional independence creates magnetism. And magnetism cannot be chased. It can only be embodied. 6. Emotional control is the ultimate attraction. I have seen wealthy men lose women because they lacked control. I have seen average men command deep devotion because they mastered themselves. The difference? Reaction. The man who reacts loses ground. The man who observes gains leverage. When she is upset, you stay composed. When she is distant, you stay steady. When she is affectionate, you enjoy, but do not cling. This consistency builds psychological safety. And safety, paradoxically, allows desire to grow. Because she feels your strength without feeling controlled. 7. Leave before you are drained. Here is something powerful. Always leave interactions with energy remaining. Do not talk until conversation dies. Do not text until there is nothing left to say. Do not stay so long that mystery fades. End on a high note. Let's continue this later. I've got to handle something, but I enjoyed this. Short. Calm. Certain. Now she associates you with unfinished pleasure. And unfinished pleasure lingers. That lingering is what turns into missing you. 8. Detachment is not indifference. Let me clarify something critical. Stoic love is not emotional coldness. It is disciplined attachment. You care. But you do not cling. You feel. But you do not lose control. You desire. But you are not desperate. Detachment means you are prepared for any outcome. If she stays, you are grateful. If she leaves, you remain whole. That wholeness is rare. And rare men are remembered. 9. The beginning of becoming high value. If you want her to miss you deeply, you must first ask. Would you miss yourself? Are you building something? Are you growing? Are you stable? Are you composed? A woman does not miss attention. She misses presence. And presence is built through discipline, direction, and emotional mastery. The world is full of loud men. Be the quiet one with weight. The one who doesn't need to prove. The one who doesn't beg. The one who moves with intention. When you master absence. When you master stillness. When you master yourself. She will feel it. And when she feels it, she will start wondering where you are. And that is where the game changes. Love, like a mirror that reflects ourselves. When you learn to love, you are also learning to look back at yourself. What are your strengths? What are the wounds that need to be healed? And understanding yourself will help you understand the other person more deeply. That is also the reason I share on this channel, to help you see love as a journey to nurture your soul. If you find these things meaningful, click like to spread that value. And if this is your first time coming to the channel, don't forget to click subscribe with the notification bell, so we can always accompany each other in the next lessons. Leave a comment below, share your true feelings after listening to this part. Who knows, your little story may touch the heart of someone in need. Now, let's continue on the next part of this journey. Part 2, Emotional Tension, the art of being calm, dangerous, and unforgettable. Let me tell you something most men misunderstand about attraction. It is not built on comfort alone. It is built on tension. Not drama. Not chaos. Not manipulation. Tension. And if you want her to miss you to the point where your absence feels heavy, you must understand how to create emotional tension without ever losing your composure. This is where Stoic love separates boys from men. 1. The balance between safety and uncertainty. A woman does not fall deeply for a man who is completely predictable. But she also does not stay with a man who is unstable. She needs two things at once. Emotional safety. Emotional stimulation. Most men lean too far in one direction. That nice guy provides safety but no edge. The bad boy provides stimulation but no stability. The Stoic man. He provides both. He is calm, but not easily read. He is steady, but not fully predictable. He is warm, but never dependent. That balance creates tension. And tension creates attachment. 2. Stop explaining yourself. One of the biggest attraction killers is over-explaining. When you explain every decision. When you justify every move. When you over-communicate your intentions. You remove mystery. And mystery is psychological oxygen. A high-value man does not feel the need to defend his schedule. If you're busy, you're busy. If you disagree, you disagree. If you need space, you take it. Calmly. Without announcement. When you move without seeking approval, she begins to feel something subtle. You are not trying to convince me. And the man who doesn't try to convince is the man who already believes in himself. Belief is magnetic. 3. Emotional reactivity is weakness. Let's be brutally honest. If she can control your mood, she controls the dynamic. If one cold message ruins your day. If one delayed reply makes you anxious. If one cancelled plan makes you spiral. You have surrendered emotional leadership. Stoicism teaches this clearly. Your reactions are your responsibility. When she tests you, consciously or unconsciously, she is observing. Do you panic? Do you chase? Do you demand reassurance? Or do you remain centered? The man who stays calm under emotional pressure becomes unforgettable. Why? Because calm in the face of uncertainty feels powerful. And power, when controlled, feels safe. 4. Give depth, not volume. Many men talk too much. They flood conversations. They overshare. They try to impress with quantity. But depth is far more powerful than volume. Instead of constant messaging, give impactful presence. Instead of endless talking, say something meaningful. Instead of explaining your whole life story, reveal layers slowly. Let her discover you. Discovery builds intrigue. Intrigue builds attachment. Attachment builds longing. And longing is what makes her miss you when you're gone. 5. Controlled intensity. Here is something most men never learn. You should not always operate at the same emotional level. If you are always intense, intensity becomes normal. If you are always calm, calm becomes invisible. Instead, master emotional modulation. Be playful one moment. Deep the next. Silent when needed. Direct when necessary. This variation creates unpredictability, but controlled unpredictability. Not emotional chaos. Composed intensity. And composed intensity feels rare. Rare feels valuable. 6. Don't reward inconsistency. If she pulls away and you reward it with more attention, you teach her that distance earns your effort. If she becomes inconsistent and you respond by trying harder, you train her to lead the dynamic. Instead, do something powerful. Match energy. If she invests, you invest. If she withdraws, you maintain composure and focus on your life. Not to punish, but to maintain balance. The Stoic man does not chase imbalance. He corrects it silently. And silence, when confident, shifts power. 7. The psychology of earned access. People value what requires effort. If you are constantly available, your presence feels cheap. But if access to you requires alignment, respect, and reciprocity, your value increases. This doesn't mean playing games. It means having standards. You do not tolerate disrespect. You do not entertain manipulation. You do not negotiate your boundaries. When she realizes your attention must be earned, not assumed, she invests more carefully. And what people invest in emotionally, they struggle to let go of. 8. Speak less. Mean more. A powerful man does not need loud declarations. He says things once, clearly, and stands on them. Instead of, I really like you and I don't want to lose you, you say, I enjoy spending time with you. That's it. Calm. Grounded. Unforced. The difference? One communicates dependency. The other communicates choice. Choice is powerful. Dependency is fragile. 9. The calm that feels dangerous. There is something almost hypnotic about a man who is emotionally stable yet not fully transparent. Not secretive, but contained. He does not overshare. He does not react impulsively. He does not chase validation. He observes. He smiles slightly. He listens more than he speaks. That kind of calm feels dangerous. Not because he is toxic, but because he cannot be easily manipulated. And that inability to control him creates fascination. Fascination leads to obsession. 10. Never let her become your emotional center. Here is where most men fail. They make her their emotional source. Their happiness depends on her mood. Their confidence depends on her affection. Their stability depends on her attention. This is emotional weakness. A Stoic man builds internal stability. He has routines. He has discipline. He has purpose. He has friendships. He has physical standards. She is a complement to his life. not the foundation of it. When she senses that she adds to your world but does not define it, she feels both safe and challenged. Safe because you are steady. Challenged because she knows you will not collapse without her. And that awareness makes her lean in. 11. The subtle art of pulling back. When connection deepens, most men suffocate it. They increase communication. Increase availability. Increase reassurance. Instead, do the opposite. Maintain rhythm. Keep your schedule. Keep your focus. Keep your discipline. Let her feel that your life remains structured even as intimacy grows. Because if your life collapses into her, attraction fades. But if she integrates into a world that is already strong, she feels lucky to be there. And what feels earned is never easily forgotten. 12. Emotional control is seductive. Let me leave you with this truth. The sexiest trait in a man is not looks. It is emotional control. The ability to remain grounded when things shift. The ability to remain kind without becoming weak. The ability to remain strong without becoming cruel. That balance creates tension. And tension makes her think about you when you're not around. Because she never fully figured you out. And the mind is obsessed with what it cannot fully solve. Part 3, Scarcity, Boundaries, and the Psychology of Respect. Let me speak to you as a man who learned this lesson the hard way. A woman can feel attraction without respecting you. She can feel chemistry without valuing you. She can even say she cares, and still slowly lose interest. Why? Because attraction without respect does not last. And respect is not built by giving more. It is built by withholding what is not earned. This is where most men collapse. They believe love is about constant availability. But a Stoic man understands something deeper. Value increases with scarcity. Respect increases with boundaries. 1. Scarcity is not a game, it is a lifestyle. Let's clear something up. Scarcity is not ignoring her for 3 days to look busy. Scarcity is not delayed texting tactics. Scarcity is the natural result of a full life. If your time is structured. If your goals demand focus. If your discipline is real. Then your availability will naturally be limited. And limited access creates perceived value. You see, people assume importance based on availability. The man who is always reachable feels common. The man who is selectively present feels intentional. Intentional presence carries weight. When she knows your time is not easily obtained, she will treat it differently. Not because you told her to. But because humans instinctively value what is scarce. 2. Boundaries create emotional safety. Most men think boundaries push women away. In reality, boundaries create clarity. And clarity creates safety. If you tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, or manipulation, you silently communicate. I am afraid to lose you. But when you calmly enforce standards, you communicate. I value myself. For example, if she cancels repeatedly without consideration, you don't argue. You say calmly, let's plan when schedules align better. No anger. No emotional explosion. No passive aggression. Just adjustment. That adjustment shows self-respect. And self-respect commands admiration. A woman may test boundaries unconsciously. But when she meets a man who does not bend under pressure, something shifts. She relaxes. Because she feels she is dealing with someone solid. 3. Never negotiate your core. There are things you can compromise on. But there are things you never negotiate. Your principles. Your purpose. Your standards. If she wants you to shrink your ambition. If she wants you to abandon discipline. If she wants you to constantly prove loyalty through sacrifice, you must remain unmoved. A Stoic man listens, but he does not fold. And when she realizes your identity is stable regardless of emotional fluctuation, she begins to respect you on a deeper level. Respect is not built through affection. It is built through consistency. 4. The power of calm withdrawal. There will be moments when energy shifts. Maybe she becomes distant. Maybe she tests your patience. Maybe she introduces subtle drama. This is where most men overcorrect. They chase clarity. They demand reassurance. They try to fix it. The Stoic response: calm withdrawal. Not punishment. Not silent treatment. Just redirected focus. You continue your routine. You maintain your energy. You remain polite but slightly less invested. This creates a mirror. If she values the connection, she will lean forward. If she does not, you have saved your dignity. Either way, you win. Because you did not abandon yourself. 5. Respect comes before love. Let me say something controversial. A woman will stay longer with a man she respects than with a man who only makes her feel good. Feelings fluctuate. Respect stabilizes. If she knows, you will walk away from disrespect. You will not tolerate manipulation. You do not beg for attention. You remain emotionally composed. She sees strength. And strength creates security. Security allows vulnerability. And vulnerability deepens attachment. But it all begins with respect. 6. Do not overvalidate. Compliments are powerful. But overvalidation weakens your position. If you constantly tell her how beautiful she is, how lucky you are, how much you need her, you remove polarity. Instead, give recognition selectively. When she earns it. When she shows character. When she demonstrates loyalty. When she supports your growth. Reward behavior, not appearance. Because appearance attracts attention. Character builds bonds. 7. Scarcity in communication. Here's something subtle. You do not need to respond to every emotional wave. If she sends a message loaded with emotion, you don't match intensity. You ground it. If she escalates, you de-escalate. If she withdraws, you remain steady. And sometimes, you allow space. Space allows reflection. Reflection builds appreciation. Appreciation builds longing. When she feels that your presence is something that can be lost, she becomes more conscious. And consciousness deepens attachment. 8. Walking away is power. There is nothing more powerful than a man who is willing to walk away calmly. Not in anger. Not dramatically. But with quiet certainty. If this no longer aligns, I wish you well. Those words, when said from emotional stability, shake the dynamic. Because most men threaten to leave but never do. The Stoic man does not threaten. He decides. And decisiveness commands respect. Sometimes, paradoxically, the moment you show you can leave is the moment she chooses to stay. 9. Standards without arrogance. There is a difference between arrogance and standards. Arrogance says, I am better than you. Standards say, I require alignment. A Stoic man does not belittle. He does not dominate. He does not control. He simply chooses. He chooses who enters his time. He chooses who earns deeper access. He chooses who stays. Choice is power. And power, when calm, feels attractive. 10. Make her earn depth. Intimacy should not be immediate. Depth should be gradual. Let her earn your vulnerability. Let her earn your full emotional investment. When she realizes that deeper layers of you are not freely given, she becomes curious. Curiosity turns into pursuit. Pursuit turns into attachment. And attachment creates fear of loss. Fear of loss creates longing. Longing creates memory. And memory is what makes her miss you deeply. 11. You are the prize, quietly. Here is the shift most men must make. Stop seeing her as the prize. See compatibility as the prize. You are evaluating too. You are observing her character. Her emotional maturity. Her alignment with your direction. When she senses that you are not trying to win her, but rather assess her, the dynamic changes. She begins to invest. Not because you demanded it, but because she feels she must qualify. And qualification builds respect. 12. The foundation of high value. High value is not money. Not status. Not appearance. High value is self-control plus standards plus direction. When these three combine, you are not easily shaken. You are not easily impressed. You are not easily controlled. And that combination makes you unforgettable. Because rare men are remembered. There are things in love, only when we take a step back, sit down quietly, can we truly understand. I share these stories not to teach you how to love, but so that you can find the answers for yourself. If what you just heard touches your heart, please click like as a way to spread this positive energy to more people. And remember to click subscribe, because there are many profound perspectives on love waiting for you in the next videos. Now, let's continue the remaining journey together, because the most precious things are sometimes at the end. Part 4, Emotional Imprint, Becoming the Man She Never Forgets. Now we step into something deeper. Making her miss you is powerful. Earning her respect is necessary. But becoming unforgettable, that requires imprint. An emotional imprint is not created by constant presence. It is created by impact. Let me explain something most men misunderstand. Women do not remember the man who gave the most attention. They remember the man who made them feel something rare. And rarity is not loud. It is precise. 1. You must represent an emotional shift. If she feels the same before and after meeting you, you will fade. But if being around you elevates her emotionally, even subtly, you leave a mark. Ask yourself. Do conversations with you feel calm in a chaotic world? Does she feel seen, not just desired? Does she feel challenged to grow? Does she feel emotionally safe without feeling bored? Most men either excite or comfort. Few can do both. The Stoic man does not overwhelm her emotions. He stabilizes them. And stability in a world of emotional noise feels addictive. 2. Be the calm in her storm. Women experience emotional waves more frequently than men admit. When she is anxious, frustrated, overwhelmed, she is not looking for another storm. She is looking for grounding. If you meet her emotion with emotion, you create friction. If you meet her emotion with calm strength, you create imprint. You do not dismiss her feelings. You do not overreact to them. You acknowledge. You remain steady. And slowly, subconsciously, her nervous system begins to associate you with safety. Safety is not weak. Safety is powerful. Because when a woman feels safe emotionally, she opens layers she does not show the world. And whoever she opens deeply to, she never forgets. 3. Challenge her, without competing. Most men either pedestalize or compete. Pedestalizing makes you smaller. Competing makes you defensive. Instead, challenge her gently. If she complains constantly, don't validate negativity. Shift perspective. If she doubts herself, don't just reassure, encourage strength. If she avoids growth, question it calmly. You are not attacking. You are inviting elevation. When she feels that being with you pushes her to become sharper, stronger, more aware, you become associated with expansion. And people become emotionally attached to those who expand them. 4. Do not overshare your depth. Depth is seductive. But only when revealed slowly. If you open everything too fast, your pain, your past, your dreams, you eliminate the journey. Instead, let her discover layers. One story at a time. One insight at a time. One vulnerability earned at a time. When she feels that each conversation unlocks something new, she becomes curious. Curiosity creates investment. Investment creates attachment. Attachment creates imprint. Mystery is not manipulation. It is pacing. 5. Anchor moments with meaning. Emotional imprint is created in moments. A deep conversation at 2 a.m. A calm reaction during conflict. A look that communicates certainty. A sentence that shifts her perspective. You don't need many. You need intensity and authenticity. Say something that makes her pause. Not dramatic, but honest. For example, I don't need someone perfect. I need someone aligned. Simple. But it communicates standards, maturity, and clarity. Words, when calm and intentional, linger. And lingering thoughts create emotional residue. That residue becomes memory. 6. Lead the emotional frame. Most men let the emotional tone be dictated by the woman. If she's distant, they panic. If she's cold, they chase. If she's warm, they cling. That's reactive. The Stoic man sets tone. If she becomes distant, he remains composed. If she becomes emotional, he remains grounded. If she becomes affectionate, he enjoys, but doesn't lose structure. He leads energy through stability. And emotional leadership is imprint-worthy. Because deep down, she feels she can rely on your frame. And reliance creates attachment. 7. Associate yourself with growth. Here's a powerful question. Does she grow around you? Does she become more disciplined? More self-aware? More ambitious? More emotionally mature? If yes, you become symbolic. You represent a higher version of herself. And people rarely forget the person who activated growth within them. This is not about fixing her. It's about embodying discipline so strongly that it inspires. When she sees your routines, your standards, your calm reactions, she mirrors them unconsciously. And when she later reflects on her evolution, your presence will be attached to that chapter. That is imprint. 8. Controlled intensity during distance. When separation happens, even temporarily, do not flood her with reminders. Instead, leave a final emotional note before stepping back. Something simple. I enjoyed our time. Take care of yourself. No begging. No dramatic closure. No emotional dump. Calm closure creates echo. And echo makes her replay moments. If you disappear in chaos, she remembers drama. If you exit with composure, she remembers strength. And strength lingers longer than noise. 9. Create emotional contrast. Humans remember contrast. If you are always available, memory blurs. If you are always intense, memory numbs. Instead, be present, then focused on your mission. Be playful, then serious. Be warm, then disciplined. This contrast creates psychological spikes. Spikes create memory. Memory creates attachment. But here's the key. The contrast must feel natural, not forced. It must come from your structured life. You are not pulling away to manipulate. You are returning to your purpose. And purpose is magnetic. 10. Never lose yourself in her. Imprint cannot exist if you become consumed. If your mood depends on her validation, your identity weakens. If your schedule collapses around her, your structure dissolves. If your confidence depends on her affection, you lose grounding. And once you lose grounding, attraction fades. A Stoic man remains centered even in deep emotion. He loves, but does not surrender self-respect. He connects, but does not abandon mission. He invests, but does not depend. This balance makes her feel something rare. Intensity without instability. And that combination is unforgettable. 11. Leave her better than you found her. This is the final truth of emotional imprint. Whether she stays or leaves, she should evolve because of you. More disciplined. More aware. More emotionally intelligent. More aligned with higher standards. Not because you forced her, but because your presence demanded elevation. When she thinks back, she will not only remember your face. She will remember how she felt becoming stronger around you. And that memory is difficult to erase. Part 5. Long-term value, the man she chooses, not just misses. Now we arrive at the final layer. Making her miss you is a tactic. Earning respect is a principle. Creating emotional imprint is an art. But long-term value? That is identity. Because here is the truth most men avoid. It is not difficult to make someone miss you temporarily. It is difficult to make someone choose you repeatedly. And repeated choice is the real victory. Let me speak to you not as a romantic, but as a man who has seen relationships collapse, rebuild, evolve, and sometimes disappear. What lasts is not chemistry. What lasts is alignment plus discipline. 1. Attraction is spark. Discipline is firewood. Attraction ignites the connection. But discipline sustains it. If you rely only on emotional tension, mystery, and distance, eventually it fades. Why? Because tension without structure turns into instability. A Stoic man understands this. He does not live in emotional highs. He builds rhythm. He maintains his physical standards, his financial growth, his emotional control, his social circle, his purpose. When she sees that your discipline does not weaken with comfort, she feels secure. Not because you are clingy, but because you are consistent. Consistency builds trust. Trust builds attachment. Attachment builds long-term loyalty. 2. Do not relax into weakness. Many men lose value after securing commitment. They stop training. Stop improving. Stop leading. Stop being intentional. Comfort becomes decay. And decay kills desire. You must understand. The traits that attracted her must be maintained. Calm leadership. Emotional control. Ambition. Structure. Standards. If you soften into complacency, she feels it. Not consciously at first. But attraction responds to energy shifts. The Stoic man remains sharp even in love. Not cold. Sharp. 3. Emotional stability over emotional intensity. In the beginning, intensity is intoxicating. Late-night talks. Passion. Mystery. But long-term, what she craves is stability. Can you handle stress without collapsing? Can you navigate disagreement without exploding? Can you lead without dominating? Emotional volatility might excite. But emotional stability builds security. Security allows deeper vulnerability. And deeper vulnerability strengthens bonds. A woman will always remember the man who remained composed when everything felt uncertain. 4. Never compete for validation. Even inside relationships, tests happen. Comparison. Jealousy triggers. Subtle provocations. If you compete for validation, you lower yourself. If she mentions another man trying to get her attention, you do not react. You smile slightly. You are not threatened by options. Because you are one. The moment she senses you fear replacement, power shifts. But when she senses you are secure regardless of external noise, she relaxes. Security is attractive. Insecurity is loud. Silence is strength. 5. Choose, don't cling. There is a powerful difference between choosing someone and clinging to them. Clinging says, I need you. Choosing says, I want you. Neediness creates pressure. Choice creates freedom. And freedom strengthens attraction. When she feels that you stay because you want to, not because you fear loneliness. Your presence gains weight. Weight creates respect. Respect sustains desire. 6. The Stoic approach to conflict. Conflict is inevitable. But how you handle it defines value. Never argue emotionally. Never attack character. Never raise your voice to dominate. Instead, listen. Pause. Respond slowly. If something violates your standards, say it calmly. That doesn't work for me. Simple. Grounded. Direct. When she sees you do not crumble under disagreement, she feels safety. Not because you avoid conflict, but because you control yourself within it. Self-control is rare. Rare men are remembered. 7. Build a life that remains bigger than the relationship. This is critical. Your life must remain expansive. Your mission must continue. Your goals must evolve. Your growth must accelerate. If the relationship becomes your only focus, you shrink. And shrinking reduces attraction. But if she is part of a growing world, a world led by discipline and direction, she feels elevated. She feels included in something meaningful. And meaning deepens bonds beyond emotion. Emotion fluctuates. Purpose stabilizes. 8. Don't fear loss. Here is the ultimate Stoic principle in love. You must be prepared to lose what you love. Not because you expect it, but because attachment without independence creates fear. Fear creates control. Control creates tension. Tension creates distance. If you love from abundance, not fear, your energy changes. You enjoy. You invest. You connect. But you do not cling. And when she senses that your love is chosen, not desperate, she values it more deeply. 9. Be the man she cannot replace easily. Replacement is easy when value is common. It is difficult when value is layered. To become irreplaceable. Master emotional control. Maintain discipline. Lead calmly. Set standards. Inspire growth. Stay grounded. When she reflects on you, she should think. He was steady. He challenged me. He made me better. He was hard to shake. Not dramatic. Not chaotic. Not exhausting. Just solid. Solid men are rare in a reactive world. 10. The final shift, from strategy to identity. Everything you've read across these 5 parts must not become tactics. If you use them as tricks, they will fail. If you internalize them as identity, they will transform you. This is not about making her obsessed. It is about becoming centered. It is not about manipulating longing. It is about embodying value. When you are calm in uncertainty, disciplined in comfort, detached from outcome, focused on purpose. You do not need to make her miss you. Your absence will naturally be felt. And if she chooses you, she chooses strength. If she leaves knowing she encountered a rare man. And rare men are never forgotten. Final words from a man who has lived it. Do not chase. Do not beg. Do not collapse into emotion. Build yourself. Sharpen yourself. Lead yourself. And if she walks beside you, let it be because she recognizes value. Not because you pleaded for it. The Stoic man in love is not cold. He is composed. He is not distant. He is disciplined. He does not control. He chooses. And the man who chooses from strength will always be remembered. Conclusion. If there is one truth I want you to walk away with, it is this. You do not make a woman miss you by chasing her. You make her miss you by mastering yourself. Throughout this journey, we did not talk about manipulation. We did not talk about games. We did not talk about pretending to be distant. We talked about discipline. We talked about emotional control. We talked about boundaries, scarcity, respect, and purpose. Because in the end, a woman does not deeply long for attention. She longs for presence. And presence comes from a man who is centered. A man who does not panic when energy shifts. A man who does not collapse when tested. A man who builds his life regardless of who stays or leaves. When you become emotionally steady in a world full of reactive men, you stand out. When you maintain standards without arrogance, you command respect. When you love without fear of loss, you radiate strength. And strength, quiet, controlled, intentional strength, is unforgettable. She will miss you not because you disappeared, but because your absence feels different from the noise she is used to. You will not need to remind her of your value. She will feel it. And whether she chooses to stay or walks away, one thing will remain true. You did not lose yourself trying to be chosen. You became the man who chooses from power. That is Stoic love. And that is the foundation of a high-value man. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. I hope you have found useful lessons about love and relationships. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. I really appreciate your support and will continue to bring valuable content in the next videos. Please continue to accompany me on my journey to learn about love and relationships. See you again and wish you happiness.